And here we are at Duel at Dawn. No, Battle on the Dunes. Um, between this, in this game between the Ryders and the Wings of Daedalus. On the red team, the Ryders, we have Fancy, piloted by Dementio, with the inner wing. Oh, this is interesting. On the lower wings, we have the Light Carronade and the Artemis. In the outer rings, we have Artemis Flamethrower with a center Merc. I imagine this will let them get pretty good sniping gun arcs. And the GDL with the front heavy Carronade Goldfish with a flare and a flamer on the sides as they're engaging the hacks. And you see Hacks is trying to use those mercs on the side, and it's just they're not going to be able to do as much damage as the Fancy with Dual Artemis. The Dual Artemis is going to take out the mercs so quickly, and the LibGDL even now getting a supremely dominant engagement. And Bundles of Turtles is, I mean, I don't know what they can do here. They can disable the LibGDL. They have triple arts on the left side, but the Fancy, they can't do anything about the Fancy. I mean, they're gonna try to get the like Carronades into arc, perhaps, or I mean, they're not really trying to. Fancy's going to be trying to bring in their close range weapons, I imagine. We'll see the gunners. Yeah, no, maybe not. Transitioning to heavy Carronade and flamethrower. Although it looks like they might just be sticking to their sniper weapons. Oh, there's the flamethrower from the Fancy. They have transitioned and Junker going down, so just an extremely dominant first engagement from the Ryders. Just not, they don't care. I don't care if you're on the other side of the map, and this map is enormous. We will rush you down. And Hacks is going to try to get away. Jarman Kell able to take down the heavy weapon of the Pyramidian, or not the heavy weapon, the heavy engine, which just screws up their charging speed. They're taking a ton of damage because they're slowed down. They can't get away. Excellent component disable from the Fancy, and now the LibGDL is going to crush them. Oh well, a little bit off with the dunk, but it probably does not matter as the blue Pyramidian goes down regardless. Bundles of Turtles again. Like, I feel like, I mean, the Ryders has done a very good job identifying the vulnerable ship. Like, it can be, when you have two ships focusing, you can take down Pyramidians are kind of talked about as, you know, maybe the best ship in the game or whatever. At least the most common ship. But it's not, not the sturdiest ship. When you're facing 4 weapons, they go down very quickly. And when that happens, your ally's going to be left alone. Hacks going for a ram. Not working out for them. Fancy is actually out of this game for a moment. Fires across the board. But Hacks is not going to have any opportunity to get away. So they have to, if they can pull down the LibGDL, get that Carronade into effect, which you're not able to do. LibGDL actually dropping into the ground. Interesting decision. I love fires on both sides. Fancy actually, blue team has a few moments they could potentially capitalize on to kill the Mobula here as LibGDL's trying to get back into the game. But they choose not to. Hacks instead opting to turn around, re-engage the Goldfish. Is that in oh, I see. He's trying to tar the Mobula. The Pyramidian is. But I still feel like it would have been a better decision to try to go for the kill on the Fancy. But they might get the kill on the LibGDL. Bundles of Turtles, the triple arts coming into effect now that the Goldfish's whole armor is down. Wow. I'm surprised. That was a good turnaround from the blue team. But now Fancy has the Pyramidians back with the close range weapons. Hack's barely able to keep its balloon up, but pretty much everything on the ship is on fire. Fancy is heavily disabled. Bundle of turtles, his triple arts are coming into effect, actually managing to break the hull armor. They might be able to get this kill. I wonder if Hax is going to try to charge in and go for, try to overcome the Mobula before they're able to get away. Looks like that is what they're going to be trying to do, although Hax is not using any engine tools. Oh, there's the kerosene. And if they can land a solid ram here before their balloon gets taken out. It looks like the Fancy's gunners have not transitioned to the light carronade yet. Yeah. All right. So overall, that was solid from the Wings of Daedalus on the blue side. But Hax did take a lot of damage in that engagement. They're going to be weakened. And if the Pyramidion wasn't, like, the red team have clearly displayed that they want to that the Pyramidion is going to be their target, that they think they can take down the Pyramidion first. And now that the Pyramidion also is down to, 1/3 of their health, that's going to happen so much more quickly. So blue team has to be very careful here. Actually, let me see if I can get maybe team names. No, actually, I'll worry about that after this game. But I'll try to get some team names up for you guys. Red team opting to separate. They're going to be trying to go for a wide flank here onto the ship location where blue team is currently encumbered. SlibGL going to try to get in close, get a good angle while the Fancy lays down the long range support fire. Also, of note, Luosi choosing to bring Moonshine in his Goldfish. Perhaps an inspired choice. Letting him close the distance that much more quickly. But when he arrives, he's going to find both blue ships. And the blue team, potentially, they have a little bit of cover here, actually, on the other side of the ship. So LibGDL is a little bit separated. Perhaps part of the plan. As it does look like, yes, LibGDL using Moonshine to reverse, pulling Hax out from behind the ship, so now Fancy is able to lay down more long-range fire. A very nice kind of bait from the Ryders. And it does clinch the game for them, 5-2, in this best-of-3 series. The Sunday Community Skirmish, number 38. The next map will be Periton Rumble, which certainly should prove to be an interesting one. Alright, and here we are on Periton Rumble. As I remember the turn on sound, we have the Ryders versus Wings of Daedalus, Game 2, Round 2 in this Sunday Community Skirmish number 38. On the red team, the Ryders, we have the Dia side, a Brawler Galleon, with the left side Gatling, Hwacha, Heavy Carronade, right side Hwacha, Heavy Carronade. Wait. Left side Gatling, Hwacha, Heavy Flak, not Heavy Carronade. Right side Hwacha, Heavy Carronade. With the rear, Harpoon, and their allied Lib ATK, piloted by Luosi, with the left side, a more traditional long-range left side with the Hades, the Lumberjack, and Heavy Flak. And the right side, Hwacha, Heavy Carronade, and a rear flare gun. On the blue team, the Wings of Daedalus, down 1 game in the series, they bring another brawler Galleon. Left side Gatling with dual Hwachas, right side heavy Carronade Hwacha with a rear mine launcher, and their ally, the Idol of Chrissy, Hadabalaknagar with the heavy Carronade Goldfish, and a Flamer and a Gatling. So this could potentially be a very long game with 3 Galleons. Galleons can take very long to take out, to kill, to remove from the game. So I love Chrissy. I love Chrissy's role is going to be very important in this game. Whether they're able to get a heavy Carronade lock on one of these Ryders Galleons, that will potentially decide the match. So they have to be very careful. At the same time, I think all the ships on this in this match do have heavy Carronades as well. So the close range match could be very volatile, as depending on which team gets the balloon locks first. Lib ATK on the Ryders, they have a little bit of they have more options here because they do have long range fire. If they get spots, which they do have, they can get some long range fire in, some sniping. They do have that lumberjack able to take out the enemy balloon, but blue team knows that. They're being very careful. They're kind of sticking behind terrain. They don't want to subject themselves to that barrage. Red team cycling around to blue sides of the map. They are keeping their distance. Libby ATK is keeping their long range side pointed towards the Wings of Daedalus, so it looks like they want to bring those lumberjack, heavy flak Hades. They want to bring that into effect. Flare gun going out, revealing themselves, among other things. Yeah. And this is kind of interesting because a lot of times, especially in pub matches, you see both teams charge directly into the center map, and this is definitely not what we're seeing here. The Ryders instead circling around the outer edge, just trying to keep the longest range possible. And Libby EK taking a really wide turn to fire that flare. A little interesting. I almost wonder if this, you see this location on the map, they almost went directly here, so I almost wonder if this was a spot they had picked out in planning when they were testing on this map. And they know this is where we want to go. This is a strong defensible position. You see it does actually have a pretty good line of sight through these 2 towers. So they can kind of just blow up whatever tries to come in. If the blue team tries for a frontal charge, it would probably not be in their best interest. And blue team knows this. They're kind of hanging back. Seems like they're still kind of trying to decide what to do. They might go north, try to come up behind the red galleons. I don't know how well that's going to work, especially like when you have like this is sort of, I mean, one of the issues, it's kind of the same issues that the Squid Mobula composition had. When you have a goldfish and a galleon, the galleon is like, you kind of lose a lot of the benefits of the goldfish because the galleon's going to hold it back. You can't really you can't kind of stay together and surprise the enemies as a team because the galleon is just, it's so big, it's so clunky. It's difficult to get the jump on someone in it. So the goldfish is probably going to have to separate here and try to get its own angle away from its ally, which can be dangerous. They have to be very careful. So they need, you see them now coming around, moving south a little bit. They're going to try to get a good angle. I imagine Ryders probably realize that the goldfish is not with the falling turtle, so they're going to be very vigilant. They're going to try to be looking, seeing what angle the Isle of Chrissy can approach from. Although it looks like Isle of Chrissy is still pretty far away. meaning Ryders are going to have a lot of time to speculate, a lot of time to prepare for any sort of surprise. And you see, actually, Libby ATK is switching to their close range weapons. They know the goldfish is coming. Well, or maybe they're just repositioning. Either way, the Ryders know something is up. They know they're not necessarily going to be as safe as they were kind of out in the gap, so they're taking a little bit of partial cover. And also kind of interesting that the Chrissy is still spotted despite being behind this building. So some really good flaring from the Ryders, keeping the goldfish marked on the map, and that is, again, that's very important because the goldfish probably needs to get the jump on red team to really get something done. So if the element of surprise is gone, it's going to be much more difficult for the wings of Daedalus. Chrissy approaching very low. They are spotted, so this will not be a surprise. And they don't have Hydro, so they're not going to be able to pop up very quickly. So I'm not sure how they want to go about this. Lib ATK looks like he wants to get some downward angles on the Chrissy. Lumberjack and Hades. Very good long-range weapons, and they also have very good downward arcs. So you typically want to have, when you're using those sort of weapons, those mortar arcing weapons, you want to have the height advantage because your projectiles go down. And typically, the target's weapons do not go up that as well as your guns go down, which is true of the Heavy Carronade. But the Falling Turtle, able to get a Hwacha Barrage on Lib ATK. They're still pretty far away, so they're not going to be able to do any significant damage. And now the Chrissy is isolated. Chrissy somehow got themselves into this position when I wasn't looking, which is not a good place to be. Yeah, you see, when the element of surprise is lost in a heavy carronade goldfish, it's just you lose so much. It just does not work as well because you're not able to get off those surprise balloon disable. And Falling Turtle is going to be retreating, waiting for the ally to respawn. Our referee for the match notifying everyone that there are 6 minutes until overtime begins. That's also something to keep in mind. Red team continuing to rotate around the outer edge of the map. Players going out. They want to make sure they keep the wings of Daedalus spotted. Know where they are at all times. In fact, both teams this game have done a very good job keeping tabs on the opposing ships, and that's very important in this game because this Guns of Icarus often comes down to positioning, getting good angles, getting the surprise, getting the first volley. Those are all things that can decide a match, especially when you have a lot of disabling weapons. Because the first team to get the disable, I mean, they kind of dictate the fight. And Blue's kind of moving in the center map. They're kind of poking out the south here. Which is strange, I guess. I mean, Red team is spotted, aren't they? I believe. So they're kind of taking a very long route to come up behind the Ryders, which is going to be an issue for their galleon, which you see is lagging behind. I don't know, perhaps... I'm not even sure how they would be spotted here. Perhaps the, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the spotting boxes are broken in Spectator? Because I'm not sure how all 4 ships continue to be spotted here. That must be a bug. So I'm just gonna assume the teams don't necessarily know where each other are. Although they saw the Ryders kind of cycling around earlier, so the Isle of Chrissy they just sort of assume that's where they're going to be, and you see them following behind, and the galleon following very far behind. Okay. And I'm now being informed that the brackets, only the white boxes on the map are what matter. So you currently see now red team is spotted. Players going down. Blue team is spotted as well. So everyone does know where they are, where each other are now. That's kind of an annoying bug. That's strange. But Isle of Chrissy is going for another kind of low altitude approach, which didn't work that well for them the first time. Again, Lochnagar does not have hydrogen, and like going for any sort of like kind of ground skulking sort of strategy doesn't work as well when you don't have that quick boost of upward momentum that hydrogen provides. But he really likes his tar. I don't know. Falling Turtle. We have a little bit of Hwacha going back and forth. Not the best Hwacha volley from Falling Turtle, but even if all those shots hit, it wouldn't have done any significant damage, so teams still kind of filling each other out. Heavy flak from the Dia side. Lib ETK trying to find an angle on something. Lib ETK is going to be the strong at this particular point in the fight. Lib ETK is going to be the strongest ship, because you see now long-range weapons. Blue team is still pretty far away. The Falling Turtle is going to have difficulty closing the distance, so that Lumberjack going to be very effective. Falling Turtle has to disengage. They have to fall behind the terrain. As Isle of Chrissy now coming in behind the galleon. They're currently not spotted, but there is no cloud cover, so I imagine the Ryders probably know where they are. Chrissy actually going right past. Maybe he's not feeling confident in this decision. And now he has to just keep running because he is on the strong close range side of both these galleons. Falling Turtle taking his time to do nothing. I was going to say maybe he was going to be trying to position forward while the Goldfish is distracting them, which, okay, now he is doing. And Blue team's going to go for a little bit of a pincer. Do the Ryders know the Falling Turtle is here? They're currently not spotted, and they go directly underneath the Ryders. Nice watch barrage from the Dia side. But the balloon's down. They're taking a lot of disabling fire. Dia side is effectively out of this fight for the moment. And now Chrissy's going to try to get another balloon disable on the Lib ATK. But Chrissy does not have any guns, which will impact that goal. Falling Turtle now taking some fire from the Dia side. Nice tar from Chrissy. Chrissy spinning around, going to be trying to get that balloon lock, but then nice watch a barrage from Lib ATK just in the nick of time. Does not actually manage to take down the heavy carronade, although it does significantly damage it. But Lib ATK has a heavy carronade shot of their own. And since Chrissy was not able to get the disable, that means Lib ATK will be the ones to get it. They will come out on top for the time being. The Dia side still kind of locked down by the Falling Turtle. Lib ATK actually putting a little bit of left side fire on the Falling Turtle, maybe giving their ally just a bit of support fire. Then going back to the Chrissy. Chrissy going for another nice tar. Tar can be pretty effective. Wow, Falling Turtle. I can only imagine heavy flat came into play there in killing the Falling Turtle. Very nice shot. But the tar from the Isle of Tar against a galleon can be very effective because the galleon has a lot of components And not only a lot of components, but it has a lot of heavy weapons, and heavy weapons take a long time to rebuild. And they're kind of clumped together, so if you get a nice tar, you can, just with your engines, take an enemy galleon out of the fight for a good long while. Good flare. Actually getting some flare hits on the enemy balloon inside of a cloud, which is not something you see that often, but Chrissy does go down unable to stand up to this just onslaught of heavy weapon barrages. And now we are currently in overtime for the first time today, with a 10-minute overtime pool. So now blue team needs to decide. They need to figure out a way to engage these ships to come out in their favor, because this is their last chance. The next engagement will probably decide the game, with red team only needing 2 more points to win. Chrissy is actually just totally out in the open here. But he does have Tar. Tar will keep him safe, so not too big of a deal. They might take a little bit of fire from the Chrissy. Although they're actually reversing under the Tar. This is a very ballsy decision from the Chrissy. I guess they figure the only way... Oh, taking a little bit of a bump. The only way they're going to get anything done is if they get that... they dictate when the engagement begins before the Ryders are able to prepare. But the Falling Turtle... You know, the Chrissy may be safe, but the Falling Turtle is not. He's totally out of the open and now falling onto terrain, taking a ton of impact damage, and this might be the end for the Wings of Daedalus in this tournament. Falling Turtle barely able to manage to get the hull armor up, but I love Chrissy finally getting that engagement they've been looking for on the Lib ATK, getting a nice balloon disable, being behind them in their blind spot, but at the same time, the turtle goes down. So even though they got what they were looking for, they have that balloon lock on the Lib ATK, they don't have the kill power. They're not going to be able to kill the galleon fast enough before the ally galleon comes in and just pushes them away. I really don't know what the blue team could do to turn this around at this point. They would need the sickest dunk here, which they're not even going to be able to get. I mean, they are in blue spawns, so the Falling Turtle's able to come in pretty close, able to re-engage pretty quickly, disable the deicide, just in time to save Chrissy, or not. I guess the heavy flak didn't get hit by that Watcher Barrage, but that's going to be 2-0 for the Ryders. Just in a very, very dominant set. You know, they've been playing for a very long time. It's maybe not that surprising, but still, you know, succeeding with double galleon, something you don't see that often. Very well done from the red team.